Good morning, lady bosses. Coming to you from a very rainy, stormy day in Southeast PA today. Yeah, we're looking at bad storms. It's not too bad yet, but I hope the connection holds out. Nobody's here yet, so when you come on, just if there are any problems, let me know. But somebody's here, and yeah, let me know if there are any problems, because with this storm, I hope everything holds out for the next half hour. We'll see, but we're going to give it our best shot. Okay, I'm going to talk about business for a couple seconds while I'm waiting for people to get on. Not a couple seconds, maybe a minute. Last week I told you that if you want to post anything about your business on our group, that's totally fine. We're going to restrict it to once a week. You can post it anytime, but once a week I will approve the ads and post them. And I said that it was going to be on Friday, and I didn't do it on Friday because I just had a really busy day Friday, totally forgot about it. So I'm not sure what day it will be, but I will attempt for it to be Friday, but I will post your ads once a week. So if you want to promote your business here, you're totally free to, but we're just going to leave the posting, the approval of them to once a week. So once a week, you'll see a whole bunch of ads come up, and then everybody can kind of scroll through. It'd be like a little bit of shopping, just window shopping. You can see what some of the different women in the group do. So go ahead and post. And like I said, once a week, I will approve them. And third, this is kind of my ad. It's not an ad, but it's kind of an outreach and looking for some help. You'll probably notice my nails today while I'm doing this, and one orange and all pink. And the reason I did that is because these are the colors of Polka Dot Powerhouse. So if you don't know already, I am in the interview process to be the managing director of our Polka Dot chapter locally. And I would start in October to take that over. So I have like 4 interviews to go through and tons of homework. And my homework this week is to speak to 5 women who really maybe have heard of it, but really don't know a whole lot about what Polka Dot is. If you would like to be my guinea pig for like maybe a 15-minute phone call, or we could Zoom if you want, let me know in the chat or shoot me a private message. But I would love to tell you more about this organization, not to try and rope you in. Seriously, it's a global organization. So even if you're in Kansas and you want to talk about it, give me a shout. I would love to tell you about it, and you'll help me fulfill my homework. So if you're game, and like I said, if you already know about it, I don't need to practice. That's not what I'm looking for. I just really want more women to know what Polka Dot Powerhouse is about. So if you would like to be a guinea pig and like to just hear more about it, I would love to talk to you. So let me know and I'll contact you, and we'll go from there. So okay, awesome. Thank you for that little space, and let's get started. Okay, we got a good group on, so let's get started. So anyway, I always like to open up by telling you what prompted me to pick the topic I picked, because honestly, ladies, almost every Sunday night, I have no idea what I'm going to talk about. And sometimes I don't even know until Monday. So the thing that prompted this was being at a Rotary meeting last week, and it was an outside meeting, and I was sitting across the picnic table from another woman, and I asked her, I always ask people, listen, we've talked about this before. We've talked about, not being judgy. If you want to wear your mask all the time, I will not be judgy of that. I wish we weren't wearing them at all, and I would not wear them at all if I didn't have to. Please don't be judgy of me, because we're all interpreting facts differently. But my bottom line is personally that I will not disrespect the rules when I walk into an establishment that requires it, because people are fighting to stay alive in this, in their businesses and everything else. I'm not going to jeopardize someone's livelihood because I didn't follow the rules. So I will also never disrespect you, where if you want me to wear a mask and that makes you more comfortable, I will do that. So I was at a Rotary meeting sitting across from a girlfriend, and asked her, I said, do you want me to wear my mask? I said, I am more than happy to do it if you. She's like, no, I'm fine. She didn't take hers off until we ate, but she kept insisting. And it just got me thinking, how often do we say, oh, no, that's okay? Not just with masks, but in so many situations in our lives where we just don't really speak the truth. We really don't use our voice to speak the truth. Because I thought in a case like this, I just didn't know. And I felt badly if, I can't read people's minds. So I don't know. I can only go by what you tell me. But it might have been fine. But if you're not being honest with people, you have no room to get upset with them for not doing what you want, because we can't read minds. Okay, bottom line. So it made me think, wow, we need to use our voices and make sure we're voicing our feelings and being honest about how we feel about things. And again, this isn't just pandemic related. How many times don't you speak up about something that's important to you for a lot of different reasons? So a lot of different reasons. What are some of the reasons that we stay silent? I think number one is peer pressure. And I think no matter how secure you are, how strong your self-esteem is, I think we all fall into situations sometimes where we just want to fit in. So if we feel like what we're going to say is going against the tide and isn't what everybody else is doing, we just kind of go along and we don't speak up or say what we say. So peer pressure is definitely one. Another one, and this is probably one of the biggest reasons I think, is the cost outweighs the benefit. Okay, how many times does speaking up and being vocal about something create conflict? And that conflict isn't easy to deal with. And sometimes it can be so big and so damaging that cost really didn't outweigh the benefits. So you just don't say anything, right? I think that's a big one. Another one kind of goes back to what we talked about last week. We talked about self-sabotage. And one of the biggest reasons for self-sabotage is a lack of self-esteem. So how often do you not speak up because you don't feel like you deserve your point of view? You feel like, well, who am I? Who cares about what I have to say? I just going to be quiet and listen because I don't even deserve to speak. That affects a lot of people, a lot of women especially. Another big one is you're afraid of the repercussions. Especially in COVID. Oh my gosh, repercussions right now, speaking up, people are getting shot and killed in stores because of arguments over wearing masks. So that's some really big repercussions. But another thing, during COVID, you might be having some conflict with your family or your significant other that you didn't ever really experience it before. And I say that to say this, think about the fact that may be a sign of some deeper issues. There could be some way deeper stuff going on in your relationship that COVID is just simply bringing to the surface. One might be that you really have a big mismatch in your values. Like your values with the person you're with or with some people in your family just don't sync. That's a big one. That's a really big one. Another one you might be realizing for the first time is like, wow, there's a really big unwillingness here to compromise at all. Like we are so, stuck in what we believe and how we feel. Neither of us are willing to give an inch. So there might be or maybe you are, and your family or your friend or your significant other isn't. They're not willing to budge an inch. So it might be uncovering the fact that, wow, there's no compromise in this relationship. It could be, the root of it could be a lack of trust. Oh, you know what? I forgot to swipe. Okay, I hope I haven't missed any comments because I don't want to ignore you ladies. Good morning, ladies. It might be showing that there's a lack of trust. So when you think about all these things, listen, ladies, those things aren't going to be fixed with a vaccine. So when you see issues like that are a whole lot deeper, it's one thing to be really thankful about that we had a pandemic because it shows you some of the big things, some of the really things that are integral to a strong relationship that maybe you need to be working on. Or if you're in a fairly new relationship with somebody and these are surfacing, it may make you realize that there are some big issues here that that make me want to walk away. Like this is not a relationship for us to be in because we are very mismatched in too many ways. So let it be a learning lesson. Like we always say, don't be afraid of failing. I mean, no matter what happens, no matter what struggles you have, let them be learning experiences. Bunny, yes, please. Okay, Bunny, thank you. I will reach out and contact you. So anyway, there's some of the reasons that we don't speak up. So when should you speak up? Maybe you don't even know when you should or when you shouldn't. So in the case where you realize you're in a discussion with somebody and the whole discussion is one-sided, and you're not saying anything, and you realize you're not saying anything, then it's probably then you probably need to speak up because conversations need to be balanced. Your point of view is important and needs to be shared. So if you realize all the conversation's one-sided, you need to speak up. in this land of COVID, you may realize that one person's fears, one person's feelings about this are the ones that are always, always, always being heard. And you're not saying anything. You need to speak up. Bunny, learning so much about myself through this. This whole year, if you have allowed it to, has been such a great teacher to help you learn more about yourself if you've let it. You know, you may not have let it. You may have gone somewhere else, run in a different direction, but if you allow it to, it can teach you a lot. I didn't know how to really say this one, but I called it like if someone's just dreaming out loud. And I've got to tell you, it's from personal experience. So if I tell you my personal experience, maybe you can relate it to something too. But my husband is always thinking about what he's going to do next and this big thing or that big thing or whatever. And as an example, something he really wants to do someday is to buy or rent a motorhome, hop in with me and the dogs, and just start traveling the country for maybe a month or two or three or until he wants to come back. So he has ideas like this all the time. So when he would have these ideas, I would immediately be like, oh, like I'm a planner. I'm a scheduler. You know, anybody who knows me knows like boom, boom, boom. I've got a planner and a scheduler. And listen, so many of you ladies say you may as well have not bought a planner for 2020. My planner is still jam-packed every single week because there's always stuff to do. There's always people to call, always things to do. So I structure things. So I would hear that and I would think, we can't hit the road for a month or 2 months or 3 months. Like, I can't not see my family for 3 months. I mean, what if they need me? What if they need something? Or who's going to take care of the house? Or that's too long to go away? Or what about my meetings? Like, I start getting all, and what it's taken me, we're together 19 years, I think, or we're in our 19th year, but it probably took me 12 or 13 years to realize that 9 times out of 10, he's just dreaming. He's not ready to go out and rent a motorhome and take off next week. He's just dreaming. And what I realize is 9 times out of 10, it doesn't happen. Or it might happen, but it might happen 10 years from now. So now when he does that, that's when you zip it. If somebody's doing that and you want to really quick jump in and be like, no, and start all this conflict, think about whether it's something that's really an imminent reality or if it's just kind of dreaming. And if it's just kind of dreaming, say, oh, that sounds really awesome. Like, how much fun would that be? And leave it at that. He's been talking about it for 15 years and we haven't done it yet. So someday we will. I know we will, and I'm really looking forward to it. But I've learned that's a time to zip it and not speak up. Oh no, Lori has a motorhome for sale. Lori, do not contact my husband. Please, I'm not ready yet. Okay, another one. If somebody's wrong in what they're saying, should you speak up or should you zip it? Kind of depends. It kind of depends on the importance of what they're saying, okay? If they say, hey, tomorrow I've got an appointment in Paoli and I thought I'd do this back way. Somebody told me it really cuts out a lot of traffic and yada, yada. Well, if you happen to know that there's a bridge out on the back way, that would be really important and you should speak up, okay? If it's important, speak up if you need to correct them. If, however, they're talking about the way they're going and they say, oh my gosh, I think I went that way before and there was this really big pretty church on the left and yada yada, and you know that's not true, what am I training? Hubby just came in, even though the door's closed and he should know. Anyway, you know that maybe there's not a church on that road, it's on another road. Why do you have to say that? Zip it. Does it really matter? Because all you're doing is saying, you're wrong, and it could imply, look how much smarter than you I am. You know, I knew that and you didn't. You've got it all messed up, and it might not go that deep, but people who do that do it a lot. And I am the first to say I did it a lot. And maybe some people would say I still do it a lot. If I have family on here, they might say I still do it a lot. But what you don't know is how many times a thought enters my mind like that, and I think, just zip it. And I do zip it. So I'm trying to get better and better about that every day. But seriously, do you have to correct everything somebody says that's wrong? No. That's the time to zip it. I love the saying that says it's more important to be happy than to be right. Okay? So when it comes to correcting people, if it's not important, zip it. Okay, next thing is, does it even involve you? Sometimes somebody's talking about something and it really doesn't involve you at all. They're just telling their story and they're enjoying telling you about a story. So don't be the annoying, unwanted commentary. You don't have to comment on the whole thing. You don't have to talk about your experiences. Let them talk about their story. That's a time to zip it. We talked about this a couple weeks ago when we talked about listening. Oh, Bunny had the same thing with her ex that I was just talking about too. Oh, Trisha, that's beautiful. She said she always says, don't say things that will crush others' dreams. So true. Ladies, you're right on target. Zip it. That's the times to zip it. So if it doesn't involve you, we all know people who love to just chime into everything, to just ramble on and on and on. And after a while, you realize that those people just seem to really like the sound of their own voice because they just always want to have the biggest part of the conversation and have something to say about everything. So again, if you have something important to say about the situation, speak up. If you don't, zip it. Just let them talk. Let them enjoy their moment, sharing what they want to share. And this last criteria for when you should speak up, in my opinion, is the most important and feeds into all these others. How important is what you have to say? On a scale of 1 to 10, my recommendation is if it falls below a 5, zip it. Because why would you want to speak up about something that's really not even that important to you, but something that might have the potential to start to create some conflict and you start to create conflict and it just creates so much ugliness. And boy, ladies, that is the last thing we need in the world today. We need to be more caring. We need to be more compassionate. We really don't need to create more conflict. So if it's an issue that's really important to you, and listen, right now during COVID, there's the example. If somebody says to you, are you more comfortable with me wearing a mask? But you're looking around the room and nobody has a mask on and you're just feeling the little bit of peer pressure, whatever. Ladies, if that's important to you, please speak up. Please say so. And I know I, for one, will totally respect that and give you what you need, give you the space you need, physical space. I'll wear my mask, whatever you need. But if it's important to you, and that's so important to so many people, please speak up. So if it's important, don't stay silent, please. Once you speak up, you might not be able to reach an agreement. So you're not gonna change each other's mind. Okay. Sometimes when you speak up, sometimes maybe somebody will see your point of view and say, I never thought about it that way. Maybe in some cases people will sort of change their thinking when they hear other points of view. However, if you don't, you're going to have to agree to disagree and you're going to have to reach some compromise. So I talked to a woman this week and I love what she's doing. Her and her husband were having some really big conflict with the virus where he basically would be happy never going out and she doesn't feel like it needs to be that severe of a lockdown. So they have finally just reached a compromise where, okay, she's like, I am going to, it took her a while to find her voice, but when she did, she said, I'm not going to live like this. I'm not going to be reckless, but I'm going to go do some things. And what they found really works, and I loved this, I never thought of this, is, make sure your voice is heard, go ahead and do what you have to do, but then share minimal information. Because she realized that if she came back and shared too much information about where she was or what she did or what she was going to be doing, even though she knew she was being very responsible and not at all reckless, she would just increase his stress level by thinking of her in these situations. So she realized the least amount of information shared worked much better. So that's one way to compromise. Another way to compromise, and I read this in an article last night, like there was another couple where it was opposite. The woman was very stressed out and the man wasn't. So they were invited to like a graduation party. And instead of him saying, do you want to go to the graduation party? He said, listen, if we decide to go to the graduation party, what kind of steps, what kind of things could we put into place that would make you feel more comfortable? And that was a whole different discussion. And she said, well, if we wear our masks the whole time, that would make me feel more comfortable. And if we really make sure we maintain social distancing, and I'd feel better if we even just brought our own food and we could bring our own food to grill. And when I'm feeling really uncomfortable, you need to help me and say, okay, it's okay, we can leave now if I give you a signal or the secret word, whatever. And that worked for them. So this is times like we've never experienced. So we have to think about how to navigate these waters because there's no rule book. We had no idea what to do. But the more we communicate, the more we speak up about things that are really affecting us, the easier we can find ways to work together to go through that with the people who are important to us. So now I want to kind of flip to the other side. What if you're a person who never has trouble speaking up? What if this isn't even an issue for you? You think, I don't know, I never have a problem saying how I feel. The only thing I challenge you to think about is maybe there's a possibility that you're the person who's always speaking and always speaking up, that you may be stifling other people from feeling safe to open up and share their position on things. Think about that. If I've just sparked something in your mind to make you think, I don't think I do that. I don't stifle anybody. I would never want anybody not to speak up. But if you find it's never a problem with you and you're always speaking up, maybe there's a problem with that. So how do you figure that out? Nothing like public opinion. I mean, don't ask Facebook, obviously, but find a trusted friend or a trusted family member and ask them. Say, listen, do you think people feel free to be honest about their feelings with me? Or do you feel like I just run everybody over? Or do you feel like I'm a spoiled brat who always gets my way and so nobody else feels like they have any room for what they say? Ask people. And if it's somebody you trust and somebody you're close to, they'll tell you the truth. And then you can work on that, because we all just want to work and improve ourselves, improve our relationships. So that's something just to think about. Bunny says, I've had to pull away from a friend because she tells the rest of it didn't come through yet. I can't see it all. Guess I'll have to read the rest of that later. So finally, now how do you do it? How do you speak up in a difficult situation? And especially right now with the pandemic. Because right now with the pandemic, it's a scary thing to speak up because, like I said earlier, some people are speaking up and being attacked, even shot. I mean, there's some horrible repercussions of speaking up right now. So if you're in a situation and it's really, really, really important to you because you're in a situation that's making you extremely, extremely uncomfortable, what do you do? What do you say? How do you do it? So the first thing is be kind. Oh my gosh, that's the first thing. Everybody's stress level is through the ceiling. And honestly, every day on Facebook, just a couple days ago, I saw a girlfriend of mine say that she was attacked twice over masks. One time she was attacked because she had it on outside. And seriously, people weren't it's nobody's business anyway. If somebody has a mask on in their car, don't judge them. You don't know their situation. But they were attacking her for wearing her mask outside. And I don't know if they were calling her stupid. I don't know what they were saying. But the woman delivers for Meals on Wheels. And she can't take her mask off because she's running from one house to another delivering meals. And that's why she was outside with her mask on. You don't know why anybody's doing anything, but whether you know or not, there is no excuse for being mean. And then she said she was in another situation where she didn't have her mask on, but she was outside with social distancing and somebody attacked her for not having a mask on. Ladies, there's no room to be mean. I don't care how unsettling this is. You're stressed, I'm stressed, but we might be stressed on totally opposite sides of this issue. But either way, it's not an excuse to be mean. No excuse at all. So the number one rule when you have finally decided to speak out is be kind. So example, you're in a grocery store. The person behind you is not 6 feet behind you, but they're so close you can feel them breathing on your neck. And you're not comfortable with that. A lot of people's stress levels would let them turn around and say, dude, do you see the pictures on the floor? Can you go stand on your spot, please? Okay, that's not the way to react. But you know what? You could speak to them in kindness and just say, sir, I am really not comfortable with you standing that close to me. Do you mind just standing a little farther back? And you know what? If they turn around and they're ugly to you as a result of you being that kind, then just zip it and leave it there. And if your comfort level is so bad that you have to leave the line and go get another line, or leave the line and go to the back. You do what you have to do. But if you have to speak up, and please speak up if it's important, just do it with kindness. Number 2, always use gratitude. If somebody asks you to do that, if you don't realize you've moved in too close and somebody's not comfortable, be thankful. Say thank you. I didn't realize I came too close, but thank you for reminding me. Whatever. Be grateful for anything that's given to you when you've asked for it. And then finally, if you're going to speak up and let it go. Sir, I'm really uncomfortable with you standing behind me so close. Do you mind standing a little farther back? Then that's it. Cut it off right there. You don't have to go any farther. And, this is just really crazy. There are rules for a reason. We have to stand 6 feet back because we can't, the whole thing. Now you have to educate him on why it's important. No, just ask kindly and stop right there. You don't have to go any farther. So I hope that helped you, not just with pandemic situations, but with just personal relationships, to understand when to speak up. Seriously, ladies, if something's important to you, you have to have a voice. You really, truly have to have a voice. I hope this helps you to discern when it's important enough to make sure you do that and how to do it a little bit. So that's all I've got today. So thank you for coming. If you're in Southeast PA, stay dry today. And it's a rainy day. If you want to go back to bed, go back to bed. But anyway, good spending Tuesday mornings with you. I'll see you next week. Bye.